think uh, a lot of us like to think we're not emotionally fused to our partner, that
Hmm.
we're doing really well, and that anytime our partner is having trouble, it's not about us, and we don't get reactive to them, you know. But I think it's pretty common that couples, first off, trigger each other, and secondly, is that they're fused emotionally, meaning they then become highly reactive when their partner isn't handling something well. What would you add to that?
Hmm. Yeah, it's this idea that like every move your partner makes um moves you, right? That there's a lack of independent choice in what you feel and what you do.
Yes. Yes. I actually was thinking about of when
Hmm.
an example of emotional fusion on my part with my husband. This was several years ago, and I had a baby at the time and a 2-year old. And I remember I was getting ready to go out with some friends that night, and my husband was going to be watching our girls. And he was up for it. And I think I was anxious thinking, he's going to be stressed. This is, a lot, going to be a lot on him. So I started to try to organize everything, come up with a plan of how things could go so it could go really smoothly for him. And he saw me. This was like I was getting ready to go, kind of frantically doing these things, before I was going to head out the door. And he looked at me and he said, Jackie, I've got this. And fortunately for me, he said that, and he was willing to take on the responsibility himself. But he saw me kind of managing him and the situation, and I think the idea was it was actually going to stress me out, the idea that he would be
Hmm.
stressed. And
Right.
so I'm lowering my anxiety by lowering his instead of letting him handle it. And he, is very capable, and he wanted to be able to do this and let me go out. So um, I've thought about that a good bit, and I was glad that he uh, wasn't reactive to me. Instead, he just said, "Hey, I've got this."
That is such a good example because you're taking like in your mind, you're handling his anxiety. That's why you're doing this.
Yes.
It's not even about that. It's about
Yeah.
your anxiety. And that's the fusion aspect is like these two things become fused in your mind. That his anxiety and your anxiety, it's all just one big blob. And
Yes.
he caught you at it and was like, "Oh, hang on, like I'm actually fine. I don't
Yes.
need this."
Yes. So
Yeah.
I needed to settle myself down. And
Hmm.
once he said, I got this, then I took a breath and realized I could step away.
Hmm.
But it's interesting that we might sort of tell ourselves we're helping the other person when we're really trying to manage us through that.
Hmm. Yeah. Why do you think we do that? What's better or preferable about thinking about it like I'm managing him?
I think that it's uncomfortable for us to see someone else feeling uncomfortable. And maybe I think there could be different reasons. And I think our backgrounds can play into this. But, if we feel like it will be our fault if something doesn't go well, um, if we take it personally, if we sort of hold ourselves responsible for outcomes, then there's like that perfectionism. Then I think that makes it so we need to be in control. And I mean, what do you think, Catherine?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people from a background perspective, a lot of people do come from a family where things were communicated through emotion instead of being like directly discussed of this is your job and your responsibility and this isn't. It would just be like you have a parent that gets dysregulated and some of the kids or maybe the other parent might learn to jump in and try to manage that. So I think it's partly from there, but it could also be a little bit of an ego thing that it's easier and more comfortable to track your partner's limitations than your own. Like your brain is better at it and it's not as hard on your ego, you know?
Yes.
So looking at it like the reason I can't go out with friends is that I can't handle the anxiety of that is a lot harder than thinking, oh, my husband would never be okay here with the kids. So
Yes. Yes.